Hello everyone, I'm currently in Nantucket to truly understand what it means to be a sailing wage slave on the high seas. The gentle push of the breeze, the lovely salt water, the brine of the sea flowing in the distance, just hoping that one day you too could get on a boat and hunt the beasts of the deep. But you can't do that anymore, because apparently it's unethical and inhumane to shoot at a 200-year-old leviathan with an explosive tipped harpoon. But let's not kid ourselves, it's not our fault they're filled with such sweet, deliciously flammable, blubbery gold. In fact, if I were king, which I already am, I would make it my mission to fill the seas with entrepreneurs, just so next time you're slowly drifting away with the influence of laughing gas to get your wisdom teeth removed, you aren't reminded of humanity's failure. Welcome to Nantucket, a game where you have to hunt down Captain Ahab's whale in pursuit of revenge, and make as much money as the human mind can conjure through commercialized whale genocide. Before we can commit such atrocities, we need to discuss the Nantucket is one of those games I will highly recommend you purchase the soundtrack DLC, as this will not only give you lots of songs that play in the background, but by random chance the silence will be broken by the calming yet somber melodies of uninsured whalers. And I will be the first to tell you that for the love of God, Wellerman is no longer a shanty. It's a song that has been dragged and ruined by the social media giants of the world, and especially through a Chinese psyop. The best parts of the soundtrack come from the combat sections, with big and bombastic tones to emphasize the beast that you're attempting to pin, or the men you're shooting. From humpbacks that don't want anything to do with you, to sperm whales that will absolutely rock your shit. There are multitudes of whale species and ages that you can fight against, but with enough whales, you can obtain massive amounts of blubber or food. Blubber at the time was an incredibly hot commodity due to its ability to become whale oil, but to do this you need to render down fat in order for it to become oil. These pots or general areas that were used to turn blubber into oil were known as tryworks. Some ships in the game are equipped with an area for tryworks as long as you have a cook that has the ability. But now that you've got blubber and oil, you need somewhere to sell it. The ports will be your saving grace. Within ports, you can buy supplies, repair your ship, or even hire new crewmates. But be warned, as long as you're carrying blubber or oil on your ship, every time you enter a port, it will unload all of your supply and sell it for the adjusted price. But in order to obtain the max amount of profit for what we're selling, we need to partake in laissez-faire economics. Because oil and blubber are products that are constantly fluctuating, when hovering over the port itself, you can see the prices of the current market and see the predictions of their movement. By simply holding out and dropping anchor, we can wait for the port's price to reach its maximum before selling it. This means that you can simply wait for blubber or oil to cost over $80 a unit and then sell it. But you need to remember that every port is not equal. Every port in Nantucket has a class rating. These go from 1 to 3 stars, all dictating the prices and the things they have available. A 3-star newspaper means that there are incredible quests that you can go on. A 3-star well-equipped shipwright makes it to where you're able to research technologies, buy better boats, and even repair your ship for cheap. A 3 to 1-star saloon is the difference between a very highly qualified sailor and a literal child. And lastly, a 3-star market makes it to where supplies are generally cheap. Places like Nantucket are the epicenter of whaling, and therefore are the #1 place for you to purchase your supplies. The ports that are available to you are Nantucket, Horta, Peterhead, Imbituba, Cape Town, Honolulu, and Kororeka. I can't stress this enough, the quality of port is incredibly important. Remember what I said about prices fluctuating? Always account for quality and distance. The prices with blubber and oil will constantly fluctuate, and depending on distance and quality, could change the entire hunt altogether. Let's say migration season just finished up. You've got mass amounts of blubber, and because you shut down your tryworks for the week, you have enough oil to last you a lifetime. Currently, as you're making your way out of Peterhead in the general migration area, looking at your map, you see that Honolulu is allowing people to sell their oil for $60 a unit. And by market predictions, the price is only going up. So rounding up your crew of gay sodomites, I'll get to that later, you chart a course to Honolulu from Peterhead, doing the occasional backtrack or even just hunting other whales that you see. But when you end up in Honolulu, because of the distance that you traveled and the market predictions going down, oil has lesser value than dirt. Then you look in Nantucket, seeing that they're willing to pay you $70 a unit, and the cycle continues. But I know this is only a fraction of what you want to hear. You want to know the crew. What is a ship without her crew but a mother without children? The crew are crucial to your enterprise and your hunt for revenge. The crew are with their pros, cons, and skills, as well as respective professions. Within Nantucket, there are tons of professions that you can pull from. Hunters, craftsmen, cooks, navigators, doctors, scientists. But perhaps one of the best crewmates that you can have is a cabin boy. A cabin boy only costs 1 prestige in order to get onto your boat. Even if you take them on missions, they don't need to be paid, and whenever they finally graduate after a few XP, they get to become any class in the game. This means that they're incredibly customizable. Once they're a craftsman, you can make them into a cook, an oil maker, or even just a carpenter. If they're a hunter, they can be a poacher, a gunman, any of it. Cabin boys are your human Swiss Army knife. And they aren't meat shields because they can attack as long as the roll hits it. All of the professions that are provided also take from your lay depending on skill and level. Think of it as how pirates were paid. They weren't given a paycheck, they were given a portion of the entire pay itself. So let's say you had a very good hunt and you have $10,000. You're not getting that $10,000. It's split amongst everyone in your crew. And one of the best things I need to tell you about is the con of being insured. I implore anyone that picks up this game to not hire people that are insured. Being insured makes it to where when your crewmate dies, their lay simply belongs to them even after death. But if you pick up an orphan, that means that all of their pay goes directly to you after they die. Remember this and remember it always. It doesn't matter how long you've known the crew member, they will die. But before they meet their inevitable death, you absolutely need to abuse their skills. Hunters of the poacher variety can have a skill that can pin down whales. Any whale, from sperm to humpback, they can stun whales and allow your other hunters to attack. Craftsmen of the carpenter variety have an ability that allows people to re-roll. Seamen who are navigators can pick anyone on their boat to dodge an attack. And they even have a perk to where if you're high enough with them, they can make your entire boat dodge an attack. Everyone on the boat will be witnessing his Tokyo drift. There are also doctors that can administer first aid, being able to stop people from bleeding. But overall, the captain is the most versatile person in combat, being able to pick from all 4 professions if they so please. Now that you know what a sailor is, let me explain the life of a sailor. It's something I really want to talk about. The life in 1828 as a sailor was really shit. As soon as you leave port and start going out to sea, you will always be losing resources. Your wood will always be used to repair the hull. Your food will always be consumed or even rot if you have too much of it and have to be forced to throw it out to sea. Your water is an incredibly important resource. And guess what? If you have too much of it, you need to waste grog in order to keep it fresh. Because if you don't, it'll go sterile. And if you don't have any grog or can't do anything about the water, there's a chance they'll contract a parasite, a disease, or even just straight up die. Diseases can obviously affect the health of your crew, which you can just move them to the med bay to get cured. Parasites make it to where you have to eat more food compared to everyone else, having 2 times the consumption. But overall, if your water is sterile, you just gotta power through it if you don't have any grog. Grog is really good and it affects the morale of your sailors. Having too much grog means that people will also go for more and become drunkards. This affects their efficiency when they're working on the ship itself. But if you happen to run out of grog and have the drunkard ability, you can just make more alcohol. Nantucket is a great game, but the events that you're given whenever you're traversing the seas are either really dumb or really dark. The best example I can give for the dark one is my doctor approached me and talked about his lost sister. So I promised him that if we had the time, we could go to his homeland of Newfoundland to search for her. Whenever we arrived and actually tried searching for her, we learned that thieves were holding her for ransom. So instead, I decided to use another bartering trick of mine, giving them alcohol, which failed almost immediately and led to them shooting her in the back of the head with a flintlock pistol. So in our heroic retreat of saddened guilt, we tried running away and shooting back at them, only for my doctor to be shot in the knee, paralyzed, and butchered with carving knives. And a few days later after this traumatic event, a crewmate comes up to my cabin and requests some private time. So now my character's name is Jasonel the Sodomite, but like fighting in the sheets, we have to fight in the seas. I don't know why, but any game that I play with any form of turn-based combat fills me with more stress than being around a tweaker with a gun. The turn-based combat of Nantucket is incredibly dynamic. You don't attack the whale on your entire whaling vessel. Instead, you're forced to limit yourself by only loading your best whalers onto a little dinghy and trying to kill the physical embodiment of a biblical creature. There are only two types of targets that you're able to kill in the game: aquatic mammals and land mammals. The whales are incredibly hard to kill if you don't know what you're doing. There are tons of species of whales that you can fight, but most importantly, their age matters. The ages go newborn, young, mature, old, and ancient. Newborn and young whales are incredibly weak since they have less health, but they'll give you less blubber. Mature whales are the Goldilocks of the sea. Although they are more moderately hard to fight, they give you more blubber and more meat compared to the young and newborns, but by far, the ones that you should fear most, especially whenever you get a bigger boat, are the old and ancient class. Unlike the mature whales, old whales will rock the boat, kill you, and everything they see, but the rewards are great. Killing an old whale will give you tons of blubber, but now comes the ancient whale. Ancient whales are your designated boss fights. Any quest that you're given that involves killing some form of boss will most likely be an ancient whale or ancient beast. Doing these quests gives you more things for the story, but even though you should fear the whales, humans are the worst enemies you can encounter, because unlike whales, humans have guns, and even though I only had 5 interactions with them, they are atrocious to fight. So it is just best if you stick to the sea, and if pirates come rolling your way, just give them what they want and they'll leave. Nantucket is a massive game. It contains a very good story. It holds the themes of Moby Dick and a lot of other stories involving deep sea leviathans incredibly well. The art style is beautiful, and there's no better way of putting it than a masterpiece of nautical adventures. But being honest with you, I think you should experience Nantucket all on your own. Nantucket is a beautifully made game, and it definitely deserves more attention than it ever should. It is just such a well-made game, and I can't recommend it anymore. I stayed up entire weekends just so I can get a different shade of green on my boat. But as all good things come to an end, this is all I had to say about Nantucket. I hope you all like, comment, and subscribe, and you are all beautiful people.